I mean, express entry continues to be a very sometimes painful as a subject. Why? Because things just don't happen the way we want them to happen. I think this is the first comment for the video today, and said, why are the scores not dropping below 5-1-18? This is the second time it's happening. Well, actually, if you go as per the historical trends, it's not the first time it's happening. It's happened many times. And you're taking the benchmark of 518 because that has been the lowest that you have seen in the recent past. But and as much as this question is quite valid, but at the same point of time, you also need to understand the whole context, right? Express entry is a points game. It's like some numbers game. It can go high, it can go low, and it will always be dependent on the number of people in the pool. It will be dependent on how many invitations IRCC wants to issue and the frequency of those invitations. The longer the gap, the lower the number of invitations, the higher the scores. The scores don't drop, the scores go up. So it's pretty straightforward in understanding as far as that is concerned. The only highlight for the most recent express entry draw which happened was that the pool breakdown, the pool distribution, as we saw with the scores of 501 and above, actually for a very long time, the pool breakdown, the number of profiles did not go up. It actually came down, and I'll show that to you in a bit. But overall, this is continuing to be a very stressful factor, especially people who are in Canadian experience class. 507 was the lowest we have seen, which happened, I think, last year, August. That is how long back 507 appeared. So now you can imagine the pressure on the people who are with the low 500s. And if you guys are still thinking that low 500s has an excellent chance because express entry scores will drop because you have high 500 or you have 500 plus, you may want to rethink your strategy because things have completely changed. Now, I'm not sure how long you have been following this channel, but if you're not following this channel, I think you need to follow this channel because that's where we talk a lot about express entry, Canadian immigration processes, news, updates, etc. We've been talking about this for quite some time. I think 4 years back, when the French first made their French as in French language, not French as in French people, but French first made its made this impact known. I've been telling you, don't be on the fence about it. Get on with the French language proficiency. Start learning the language. Get on with it. And a lot of you people actually went through with this and got it done. And then we started identifying. And again, you can go back and you can check. And we started identifying that once the LMIA points are gone, which, to be very honest, is a good thing that it happened. But have you noticed that it didn't really make a big or a large impact on the scores at all? On the contrary, the scores have not only stayed the same or similar, but actually gone up. So the impact, which I thought would have been about 30%, didn't even make an impact of 30%. It was much lower than 30%. And you know where the difference came from? And now this is another one which a lot of you are now advocating for it to be removed, and that is foreign work experience. Now, I'm not sure if that advocacy of removing foreign work experience is going to work, because if that happens, then the entire express entry system should fall down. And the reason why it will fall down is because it impacts the entire eligibility criteria for one of the main programs, which is the Federal Skilled Worker Program. So Federal Skilled Worker Program is dependent largely on foreign work experience, or it basically gives eligibility to everybody who's outside Canada. So you're pretty much, the minute you remove the foreign work experience points, you pretty much are saying that Canada has closed doors to anybody outside Canada. And by that, how will you then justify the government's mission statement where it says that they want to attract global talent from across the world and bring them to Canada? Things will not add up there. So I don't see foreign work experience going anywhere. And as they say, right, strategy and efficiency and processes, and therefore you must adopt this. And I've been saying this again for the last couple of years at least, that the way express entry has been designed, the system has been designed, it advocates for, I mean, again, you see, none of this was ever thought of in 2015 when the system was put into place. None of this was ever thought of in 2012, 2013 when this whole express entry system was being designed, when the people were sitting together on a table, huddled, trying to figure out how many points should be given to what, and what should, and how those distribution should happen. They never thought this is how it's going to pan out 10 years, 15 years later. When spouse accompanying, not accompanying provisions were being made, they never thought out how this was going to impact 10 years down the line. So now things are different, and you have to always strategize. I keep using the word strategize. I think I've been using it too many times now. You have to then plan and figure out what our option is going to be for you. And unless IRCC comes out and says in very, very large, big words that we will not expect, or we will not accept foreign work experience, until such time, I think you should be making it work for you. And when we talk about foreign work experience, immediately then the next question is, can I work remote work experience? Can I do remote work experience? Now, for people who wish to go the remote work experience way, because they don't want to leave Canada, the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Canada, they don't want to leave the country, they don't want to go back. Why don't you want to go back? Why will you why will you stay in Canada on a visit visa and continue to sort of pay in Canadian dollars out of your savings, can't work, but work remotely? It doesn't make sense to me. I'm sure it makes sense to you, but a lot of people are scared. A lot of people are worried that if they will go back, social stigma, log kya kahenge, what will Sharma ji say, what will Singhal ji say, what will this one say, what will that one say? You're more worried about the social stigma, you're more worried about the family pressure. Well, if your family really loves you and cares for you, then you should be able to explain that sometimes in order to jump forward, you got to take a step back, you got to take a detour, and this probably is going to be that. So think about it. Being in Canada is not always a good option or good idea, considering you're going to be here as a visitor after your work permit expires. And if you do want to pursue the foreign work experience, then it's better to go back or go out of Canada and then complete, so that you don't go into the gray area of remote. Now, I keep saying remote work experience because that is always a big question. Why is it gray area? And the gray area it is because some of the officers in IRCC still interpret it as you having to be physically outside in order to claim that as work experience, which is untrue, which I'm sure will get thrown out in the federal court at some point of time whenever it goes for a judicial review. The law categorically doesn't use the word physically outside Canada. The ministerial instructions under section 25, where it defines foreign work experience, does state that this is the work experience gained outside Canada. Now, gained outside Canada, that is where the gray area for interpretation lies, and that's where the officers, some of them may go this way, that way with the whole idea, and may sort of choose to not give you points. And therefore, I keep saying remote work experience is a gray area. Now, this is for those smart Alex or over smart individuals who think, hey, you know what? I've read this post that you can have concurrent work experience. So maybe I can work in Canada and I can also claim at the same point of time remote work experience, which I will be working in my uncle's company, for which my uncle will give me a job offer, etc., etc. Bad news, you can't do it. I mean, in spite of some of the tweets that you have seen, some of the posts you have seen, section 25 again, there is a small note, work in excess. And that work in excess is specifically referring to combination of foreign work experience and Canadian work experience, that if you have more than one work experiences simultaneously, more than 30 hours, then IRCC will still consider only one work experience as a full-time work experience. So concurrent work experience doesn't work, so don't try that. But don't try it at home, as they say. It may not work. It may give you those heartaches, and it would be very painful for you to realize that you have wasted your uncle's company's experience and it's gone down the drain. So another one, remote work experience. Remote work experience, if you're working in Canada, first of all, you can't be a cook remotely. You can't be a carpenter, plumber, welder remotely. I'm sorry to break it to you. I know AI is fast developing, but we haven't reached that point in life where you can cook or be a barista or do that remotely. Not happening at this point of time, so don't even try. I know one of you did consult with me asking whether you can do it remotely. Well, and I had a very difficult time explaining that these kind of things can't be done remotely. Another very interesting one is, and IRCC has been very, very clear about it, is how do you get paid? Cash salary for remote work experience because you are working in your uncle's company. Oh my God, what are you guys thinking? I mean, I know I say think out of the box, but this is not out of the box. This is you going completely out of your mind. Remote work experience and cash salary. I mean, how did you get paid? Did your employer fly every month to Canada and then hand it out Canadian dollars in cash to you, or Indian rupees in cash to you, or whichever currency it was in cash to you? Did the employer come to you every month, or did you fly back to your country every month to collect your cash salary? Saying that my father, my mother, my brother, my sister, or somebody, my friend, collected that money in cash. I mean, are you really serious when you try to think of these things? I mean, think out of the box. Yes, strategize. Yes, plan. Yes, figure out different ways of doing things. But obviously, don't do these kind of things. Again, not recommended. You might actually create a bigger mess for yourself rather than making it work for you, because all these things, they smell, they stink. Okay, and they stink of this being fake. And if I, a small time consultant sitting in Canada out of 14,000 licensed consultants, out of another few thousand immigration lawyers and so many other smart individuals, if me, teeny weeny me, can figure out that this is fake, imagine those guys who are trained to identify what is fake, what is fraudulent, what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing. I mean, you really think you will be able to bypass this, right? And then if they will send you a PFL, and then you get concerned, then you get worried, then you get a refusal, you might get a ban for misrepresentation for doing this. So please be worried, please be scared, please be worried, please be fearful. Don't do these things. Genuinely go back, get your work experience, and you will live happily ever after, instead of resorting to these situations. So, and I'm seeing increasingly people trying to do that. So please, cash salaries, remote work experience as a cook for which you're getting paid cash in your uncle's restaurant. My friends, that's not going to work. So please don't do those kinds of things. Other than that, foreign work experience will continue to be a huge impacting force as far as the scores go. And therefore, if you are in the low 500s, you have to be careful, because scores may not come down. As it is, I've been saying that for the remainder of 2025, we don't have, of course, we only have a few months left, 5 months to be exact. That gives you about 10 odd more draw cycles to go. And of course, as you have seen this week, or rather the last week, there was a category draw again. And with a category draw, CEC draw doesn't happen usually. And when a CEC draw doesn't happen usually, then in that case, it did happen the week before, right? When they had a French category draw and they did 1,000 ITs for CEC. So I said usually, right? But whenever something like that happens, there will be a gap. When there will be a gap, the pool builds up again. And when the pool builds up again, the scores don't drop. Unless, of course, IRCC does something which we are all hoping and praying for, which is something freakish. They invite people in bucket loads. When they invite people in bucket loads, and we have seen it, there is precedence. It's not like I'm saying something which is total baloney. It happened, I think, a couple of years back. March 2023, they invited 21,000 people in a span of 14 days, 2 weeks, right? 7,000, 7,000, 7,000, 3 back-to-back draws, which was tremendous. Can they do it again? Well, fingers crossed, and my toes are also all notched up right now, but can be done. I'm not sure how willing they would be right now. Also, you have to understand that the current invitations that are now being given out probably constitute towards the 2026 targets. Why? Because again, if you have seen my videos from early this year when we discussed and we shared with you the inventory list of the applications that are currently in process. There were a lot of, I think there were more than 70,000 applications were in process at that point of time. CECs, right? And if you had that many applications in process at that point of time, you can imagine with only 126,000 being the immigration target for this year under In Canada focus for CECs, they didn't really need too many to basically go by in terms of how many people were being invited. And that was in inventory. And then, of course, invitations were issued late last year who were still being getting into the pool or who had still to complete their R10 check. So basically, that number of 70,000 was much larger than just that number. With that being said, obviously, the first part of the year, which is already gone, the number of invitations that were issued largely contributed to this year's quotas. And also, even now, another good thing which is happening is that the processing times suddenly have gone up. I think one of our clients got an approval in 27 days flat. I think that happened last week. 27 days. It's incredible. 27 days, CEC inland. It blew my mind. I mean, right now, when applications are taking such longer in so many areas, 27 days was brilliant. But that is not just one-off case. Between 30 to 75 days, like about 1 month to 3 months, let's say 3 months, this period of time, I'm seeing so many applications getting through. So if you have prepared a good applications, there is no hodgepodge remote work experience, cash work experience, those kind of situations in your profile. Spouse is accompanying and you have none of those. Applications are moving pretty fast. And also Francophone categories, Francophone people who have the French scores who were invited under the Francophone, those are seeing very fast processing as well. So overall, these applications getting processed faster. If they continue with this, you might probably see more people getting through within the same year as well, even if the draws are being issued now, contributing from the next year's quotas, because there will always be a lot of applications which will go further in the processing, which may not get processed in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, but may take longer, right? You know, a lot of you are out there, right, who are also waiting for that. But overall, if we talk about the express entry, the draw outlook, whenever, as I was saying, 10 draw cycles is what I'm expecting. Every single time when there will be a category draw, you will see a gap. So unless IRCC conducts that big size draw, I don't expect the scores to really go down a lot. In my expectation, I expect to see roughly 20 to 25,000 ITAs more for CECs, 20 to 25. I mean, of course, the number could go anywhere, but that's what I would anticipate. So if it's 20 to 25,000 ITAs in a span of next 5 months, you're expecting about 5,000 ITAs per month, give or take. And with 5,000 ITAs per month, that could probably be 2 or 1 or 2 draws. The scores are not going to drop that drastically. I do anticipate everything above 515 plus. That's the anticipation. 515 plus, I think they are pretty much in the safe zone. Even if not this year, early next year's, they should get cleared out. Anything below 515 at this point of time, very difficult to speculate. I mean, I love speculating. You know that, right? I mean, you guys have even beaten me over it for a few times. But as far as speculations go, it's very difficult as of today because there is nothing consistent. There is nothing which we can constantly expect IRCC to be doing in a consistent manner. We can't, and therefore, expecting the scores to drop below 515 at this point of time looks a bit dodgy. And therefore, if you're out there, if you're preparing, you're planning, please do your best to push your scores up. Improve your English language scores, take up French as a second language, get that foreign work experience added in if you can. If your spouse is accompanying you, and maybe nudge your spouse to get his or her English language exams done sooner, better, faster. Get that extra second year of Canadian work experience if you have to. Take another program if you have to, as in a diploma if you already have a bachelor's, or take up master's if you have already the diploma. All of these will add points. And this is how you got to go about doing this thing. Otherwise, it can get very, very difficult. Right. If you're new here, my name is Kubeir. I'm a CICC licensed immigration consultant. I love immigration. That's why I am on a short vacation and I'm still here doing this weekly live. from the beautiful city of Orlando in Florida. And this is our weekly roundup, starting with Express Entry Provincial nominee program draw happened on the 18th of August. 192 invitations issued. Score was a very high 800. But the reason why the number of invitations being issued are also so low, only 192, is because most of the provinces have not been releasing the nominations. The reason they're not releasing the nominations is because they don't have the quotas to release the nomination. And this is where it brings another thing into perspective, and that is, next year we anticipate that PNP quotas will be brought back to life, right? They will be again reinstated to its original glory. And if that happens, that numbers have to be adjusted somewhere, right? That they can't suddenly increase the quotas or the PR immigration targets. So they will have to continue with the reduction because that's the campaign promise. They can't suddenly tell the Canadian public now they want to bring in more people. They will get beaten down. So the government is not going to do that. The government is going to maintain the immigration targets for 2026, 2027, probably be reducing it even a little bit more if possible. But PNP targets will come back for sure, because Mark Carney, the Canadian Prime Minister, has been running around appeasing the provinces, their premiers, their immigration ministers, and therefore, in that interest, in that intent, they would certainly be looking to bring up the PNP quotas. If they do bring up the PNP quotas, then that numbers have to be adjusted somewhere, and when that numbers get adjusted, I have a feeling it might take a hit on the federal high skilled, and federal high skilled is basically express entry, and if it does, then you will see a larger pressure coming on the scores. And if that happens, your foreign work experience will be worth its weight in gold. So even today, if you are in Canada and waiting and deciding, should I apply for the dummy extension and just be here, or should I just apply for a visitor record and be here and enjoy Canadian summers and autumns and winters, don't do that. I know back home AQI might be high, but probably just suck it up for a year and then come back and live happily ever after in Canada with a better AQI. But for the time being, there will be some tough calls, there will be some tough decisions, but sooner than later. Why? Because some of you are smart and they do take good advice, and what I'm giving you is good advice at this point of time. And some of you have already been doing it. Some of you have already been taking that advice and have already gone back and have already been gathering that work experience. So a year from now, a lot of you would have gained that extra additional 38 or 50 points. And in that case, all those people would be rushing back to add those scores in their profile. These scores are not going to come down if that continues to happen. Therefore, if you are a smart person, you would be taking a decision sooner than later. Healthcare and Social Services Occupation version 2 draw happened on 19th of August, 2,500 invitations issued. Finally, the score came down to 470, which is yay. Can we expect the scores to go down even more? I'm skeptical on that one at this point of time. The reason is because we've already seen how many now? 4,000, 6,000, 7,000, 7,500 invitations being issued in healthcare. There could be a possibility of maybe one more draw, but if that happens, the draw is not going to be a big size. It's going to be probably a smaller size draw. And with a smaller size draw, as you know, scores never go down, they go up. And if you are one of those people interested, then probably look at improving it. Okay. Sorry, just for a minute. Somebody said my background view looks distorted. Could you change it next time? I can change it even now, but the problem with my background is, yeah, you see, it's a very blah, boring background. That's the reason. You know what? Let's do this one. Yeah, this is much better. At least we have Ask Kubeir here at the back here. Yeah, that helps. This one. Okay, there you go. See, immediate action taken. Thank you for the feedback. As we move forward, let's go with this one. This is the pool breakdown, right? I was telling you about earlier. Now, August 5th, 24,165. August 17, 22,930. Now, in between this, there was a draw for the Francophones. Score was 481. And then that number probably took few of the profiles off. And then we did see some small 1000 ITA draw that happened for Canadian Experience class. That probably took some profiles off. And then the pool did not get replenished the way we thought has been getting replenished. So that number probably did not go up either. Any which ways, the fact that we've had a reduction of more than 1400 some profiles, any reduction in the pool is a good reduction, right? So I hope it continues, though I doubt it very much. Probably because this week we did not see any CEC draw. We only saw healthcare draw, and there are only so many healthcare profiles above 500 plus, especially because the score was at 470. So don't expect too many numbers to drop. Okay, IRCC has updated its processing time as of 22nd of August. I know the screen is a bit teeny weeny short. Let me see if I can make it bigger. Okay. Visitor visa inside Canada is now 15 days. Visitor visa is in TRV. Work permit inside Canada is 85 days. Pretty long, that one. Work permit from outside Canada from India is taking 7 weeks. US taking 3 weeks. UK taking 11 weeks. Not that bad from outside Canada. Visitor visa from outside Canada, TRV. UK, if you're in UK, it's taking 270 days. But if you're in India, it's taking only 45 days. US, only 24 days. I can't say if this is good numbers or not. Nigeria also at 98 days. Can't say these are good fast processing times, but hey, this is what it is. I will show you study permit from outside Canada, India only 3 weeks, US 9, UK 10 weeks. I don't know why it's taking such a long time in UK. UAE also at 10 weeks, but then UAE also handles several applications across the Middle East. Look at this one, super visa from outside Canada. India is now 138 days, has been creeping up. It was 104 days a couple of weeks back. Now it's 138 days. US at 89, UK at 106. Again, UAE, United Arab Emirates, is at 211 days. You guys in the UAE visa office, you guys need to buck up, right? I mean, I don't know, maybe hire more staff probably, but your processing times are really, really long. There was something else which was pretty long. No, don't see it. Okay. PNP draws. BC conducted a draw on the 19th of August, invited 11 entrepreneurs, and 169 invitations so far in 2025. That's all BC has issued, but not too many there. I don't see them doing much this particular year anyways. There you go. Visitor visa from South Africa is 700 plus days. I can't even call it ridiculous. I have to think of a better word than ridiculous. What is it? Pathetic? Sad? Disappointing? No, but none of them are punchy enough, right? I don't know. Yeah, sometimes it's yeah. I have some words that are ringing in my ears, but I don't think I can say them out loud. Can't. Going back, Quebec on the 14th of August invited 277 candidates under Stream 3 and with a minimum score of 766. Alberta on the 7th, 11th, and 12th, 7-11. What is 7-11? Oh, 7-11 supermarket. 7-11 and 12 invited 63 candidates in express entry and 39 non-EE under the dedicated healthcare pathway. They also invited 581 people under the Alberta Opportunity Stream, and the cutoffs was at 56, 53, and 70, but these are because of the separate priorities that they gave on different occupations. And so far in 2025, Alberta has been the only exciting province which has continued with its invitations and has invited now 2,756 people. Well done, Alberta. I think Ontario should take a lesson from you as to how to manage the process workflow and still continue issuing with the invitations, maybe. PNP updates, Yukon received additional allocations of 67 nomination slots, therefore bringing the total to 282. Alberta is calling for immigration cap amid population surge. Now, this is one thing I don't ever understand about Alberta. At one point of time, they are calling for an immigration cap, and then just few months back, their same immigration minister and their premier was asking for more immigration quotas for PNPs because they wanted to attract more people to come to Alberta. Alberta has been running this campaign where they're even saying we will give you $5,000 if you move to Alberta for some occupations. And then they ran this campaign saying, come to Alberta. And now you are saying there is a population surge, reduce the immigration. I mean, why don't you guys make up your mind, right? I mean, maybe you need to hire some good business consultants or economists or just simple logical thinking people who can look ahead and say, you know what, if you're going to be calling so many people, you are not competing, or rather you're not keeping up with the healthcare, with the infrastructure, with the housing, and that you are going to face a problem. So don't do that at this point of time. I don't know, these guys sometimes just baffle me as to what exactly they try and do, because here they are saying that too much of immigration, so please reduce the cap. Alberta invests 3.3 million to support early childhood educators. Good job. And 2025 New Brunswick skilled worker stream has now updated that they're removing certain occupations from their priority list. And again, the list, I mean, the screen is a bit small, but see if you can. Accounting, bookkeepers, admin assistants, shippers, receivers, retail, trade managers, retail, food services managers, retail supervisors, food supervisors, cooks, bakers, etc., etc., etc. All these occupations have now been removed from their priority list. These occupations are no longer priority, and unfortunately, if you are in one of these occupations, New Brunswick will not be knocking your doors this year. In other news, Canada is investing 34 million to boost French language healthcare in Ontario. Obviously, if you're going to be increasing Francophone immigration in Canada outside Quebec, you also will need to be providing services to the Francophone speakers. So therefore, they're investing 34 million to just boost French language healthcare. I mean, why only French language healthcare? Just boost healthcare, right? For God's sake. Is it that a person who is speaking French more in pain than the person who does not speak French? That's not the case, right? And I understand that French speakers may need somebody who can communicate with them in a better manner, but then we do already have these. So the same French speakers who are in Canada that you're attracting, probably offer them jobs, train them. A lot of them are actually healthcare professionals to who Canada doesn't give licensing and certifications easily, so they can't actually work in. Are you seeing this loop that they just want to spend money, but not in a sensible manner? And so they spend more money for the silly, stupid things that they have done, which didn't make sense in the first place. Oh boy, I'm in a bad mood. So yeah, forgive me. Okay, that's it. Connect with us, social media platforms. We're all over the place. Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, we just love social media game, right? That's the reason we are here. And if you wish to, hey, I'm not sure if you know this, but I am a CICC licensed immigration consultant. And if you are looking to hire an immigration representative, then please do consider us. I would like to believe that we are pretty good at what we do. Support at askkubeir.com. Recently, we are getting pretty much of an expert in PFLs. For some reason, PFLs have been knocking our doors left, right, and center. A lot of people coming to us with so many PFLs for your work experiences, PFLs for proof of funds, PFLs for not showing your intention to live in Canada or the province, PFLs, spouse not accompanying. Those PFLs are just going bonkers and crazy. PFLs for your work experience documents, those are also making the rounds. But yes, support at askkubeir.com. If you wish to hire us, please look us up there. And if you wish to book an appointment, because today I can see a lot of questions already. I reminded you, I'm on a short leave. My family is waiting outside. I won't be here too long. But while I'm here, I will try and answer as many questions as I can. But if I'm not able to, my slots are still open throughout the week while I'm out. And askkubeir.com/appointment, I will continue to take them. So please, by all means, do book one, and we can then discuss more in detail. Very, very quickly is what I will be doing these questions. Starting one, oh, no question. All right. Received ITA under CEC primary occupation as different knock experience from India. Canada experience is different knock. Keep it same or change it. I'm not really sure what you're talking about here, but as long as your primary knock code is indicated and you have some work experience in that primary knock code mentioned in your work history, you're fine. Primary knock code has no relevance in CEC. Primary knock code has extreme relevance in FSW and in FSTC, Federal Skilled Trade Category, Federal Skilled Worker. Federal Skilled Worker, why? Because primary occupation defines your eligibility criteria. FSTC, primary occupation, defines your eligibility criteria. CEC, not so much, because your work experience could be in any occupation, tier 0, 1, 2, 3, multiple knock codes, multiple jobs, it doesn't matter. So if you have a primary occupation, as long as it is one of the relevant work experiences in your work history, you're good to go. If you are choosing an occupation which is an foreign work experience, then make sure you have at least 1 year of it in your work history. So, but if you're a CEC, I prefer to always go with my primary knock as one of the Canadian work experiences. I have foreign work experience back in 2018. I have the experience letter, pay slips, but the bank account is closed and tax was not filed. Well, tricky, but all you can do is go with what you have, and hopefully IRCC will accept it. If in case they ask you for more documents, then be prepared to explain. Is it possible to use full-time internship work experience I gained while being full-time student outside Canada? It was paid, continuous, comes under tier 1. I have 2 years of Canadian work experience. Ankit, the answer to your question is yes. And it has been very clearly mentioned on IRCC website as well. So all you do is just Google for work experience while studying. CIC or IRCC, you should be able to come to IRCC's FAQ page or questions page, and they will tell you very clearly that yes, any work experience while studying gained outside Canada is fine, is acceptable. You can claim it. That's not a problem. By all means, go for it. I got an ITA in healthcare. I was in Canada on VR, all extensions approved, with a citizen family for 3 years, learning English, not always in school. I have some certificate. How can I put this in person? I honestly have completely lost your question. I'm not able to understand what you're asking me. I was in Canada on visitor record, all extensions approved. Okay. What is a citizen family for 3 years learning English, not always in school? Yeah, I'm a bit lost on the question. I don't really understand what you're trying to ask me. But as far as personal history is concerned, you don't need to provide any documentation. All activities, even if they are overlapping something else, you can indicate it, you can mention it. And if there is something which needs further explanation, you can always add a brief letter of explanation. It's all good. I included Indian experience in study permit, but missed in work permit. Now adding in my PR application. Any issues? No issues at all. Why? Because as long as you included it in your study permit, it's good. As far as work permit is concerned, and you're referring to probably postgraduate work permit, if you go on the IRCC website, and if you look at the application guide for form 5710, which is the postgraduate work permit form, you will notice that IRCC itself mentions that under the employment information, you don't need to provide that for postgraduate work permit. I don't know why they would say that, but it does say it on IRCC website. So you can always explain that. But as far as you having included in study permit, that was your first application to come to Canada, and that is where it mattered the most. And if you have included that, you're good. You can use it, you can do it, no problem. I'm sorry, Yash, nothing here. I have work experience from December 22 to December 23. If I get recommendation letter from RCIP, can I apply for PR in Jan 26, or I have to apply before December 25, as 3-year window expires on December 2025. You know, this 3-year window is not only for the RCIP endorsement, it is also for IRCC. So as far as IRCC is concerned, your work experience that you're eligible for has to be within the last 3 years. So not only do you have to apply for RCIP, you must get the endorsement and you must apply to IRCC within that 3-year period, so that your work experience eligibility is still valid. So please be very careful with this. You may proceed, you may apply, you must get your endorsement in time, and you must submit your application to IRCC before December 2025. Received ECOPR without office signature on GC key application. Status approved. Is my PR status still valid? How can I resolve this issue? ECOPR does not have any physical signature, so you don't have to worry about it. In case of any doubt, you can always apply for VOS, verification of status, on the IRCC website by paying a $50 fee. That would also confirm you're a permanent resident. This situation doesn't need to be resolved. You're absolutely fine. Any idea when the next EE skill draw is? No, absolutely no idea. Ontario has not been conducting draws. They only did one batch of draws in June. When they will do their next draw, what will be the scores, how many people will be invited, nobody knows. And that is primarily because Ontario has a lot of applications in their inventory and they are not really issuing nominations at the same speed. So probably once we come to the end of the year and they realize that their nomination quotas will be increased, has been increased, then they probably start issuing more nominations and also conducting more draws. Until that time, unfortunately, I don't have any idea. We just did this. Okay. Skill trade draw 469. Any chance? Can't say because I have no way of knowing how many people are in the pool and how many invitations will be issued. Work permit will expire on 15th of May. We are planning to visit India. Is it safe to travel back in March? Oh, yes, absolutely. As long as your work permit is valid, you have a valid TRV, you are working, you can answer any of the questions that the officer may ask you. Absolutely travel, no problem. Safe travels. Thank you for your guidance. Okay, after 6 years, we finally got ITA. Oh, awesome. Devanshu, I'm so glad to hear this. Kudos to Team Kubeir. Bhomik. Okay, I'm sure Bhomik and Karan, both of them will be very, very happy to see your comment. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Can I add work experience now during studies not related to study while in India from 2015 to 2019, which is not disclosed? When you did not disclose it, why didn't you disclose it? This is the problem, right? People think by hiding information, and this is what a lot of agents in India do, a lot of consultants in India do, right? They don't disclose the information. They tell you if you have different kind of work experience, you will not get a study visa. Don't show it. It will not work. If you have a master's degree, don't show it. If you have a diploma, don't show it. If you have a bachelor's, don't show it. Now, all that don't show it, unfortunately, now does not allow you to show it. And if you do, you are risking big risk, because IRCC version 3.0 is very serious, very diligent, very strict, and you are really risking PFL, refusal, misrepresentation, if you now claim points for things which you did not disclose before. So please, if you choose to go this way, proceed with caution. Just one of your reply to my question on YouTube helped me claim my work experience few months back. Thank you very much. Finally received my PR card, completing a 7 years long journey. Yes, this is the reason why I love social media. It's a platform where you can discuss, you can talk, and at the same point of time, while I absolutely appreciate and thank you for posting this comment, and I appreciate that you did take that advice. Also, be very careful, and this is for everybody else. Be always very careful who you follow, where you follow, what kind of advice you get, and how does it apply for you. Sometimes on the social media, especially, there are a lot of people who will say things which doesn't really, doesn't impact you, or it doesn't apply to you, and you might actually blindly be following this. But Sachin, in your case, I am so happy to hear it. I'm so glad. And thank you so much for being part of my community. Really appreciate it. All the best, my friend. I was paid in cash and I have T4s and pay slips. Later, salary was deposited into account. Will the officer require bank statements for cash paid period or latest bank statement be stuff? Well, if it was in Canada, cash salary is always suspect. If a company, if you're working legally in Canada, cash salary usually is not something which is, though it doesn't mention anywhere, any place that you can't be paid in cash, even in Canada. But yes, officer can have a question, can have a doubt, can raise suspicion, can raise flags. As long as you're able to prove it, you will be fine. Does the primary applicant need full-time for their spouse's open work permit, or part-time is okay? Part-time is absolutely fine. Nowhere will you find IRCC specifically asking for full-time work experience. Part-time work experience is equally fine if you're looking to apply for your spouse open work permit. No issues at all. Got OINP invite in October 24, no update, work experience, work permit expiring. What should I do? Well, Pretty tricky, this one. A lot of people have been waiting anxiously for their nominations from Ontario. I don't have any specific advice for you. You can maintain your status, you can get an LMIA, you can apply for a visitor record, you can choose to leave Canada. In every situation, do ensure you follow up with the Ontario on your nomination process. Now, only in one stream, I think, I don't remember which one it is, only in one stream at the time of nomination should you also be working in Canada. For all other streams, there is no specific requirement of you being working in Canada. If you are in Canada, it requires you to have legal status. Other than that, you can always leave Canada. You can maintain your status in Canada as a visitor. And as long as that is applicable to you, then you should be fine. Thank you. I think it's the same thing coming on. Dummy extension refused, no ITA, next steps. Well, if you're within the restoration period, apply for visitor record or choose to leave Canada and improve your scores so that you can have a better chance. My mutual divorce application has been processing for 3 months in Indian court. I don't have separation agreement, but I have B12 form from Indian court. What is my marital status? You can choose yourself to show as legally separated and then provide a detailed explanation and explain that your divorce is ongoing, your divorce proceedings are ongoing. Provide an affidavit from your lawyer, which will also confirm the same. And of course, provide the B12 and request IRCC to continue your application. CRS of 518, when can there be a CEC draw? Can I get invite anytime soon? Well, you can get invite once IRCC does start conducting CEC draws. I would be still hopeful for 518. I think it's a promising score. Only have to wait for IRCC to start continuing the draws again. Applied third visitor visa due to ineligibility of spouse open work permit, got new UCI. Now I have 2 UCI and then biometrics not updated after multiple web forms. Okay, I understand that, but what is the question here? And if it is about biometrics not being updated, well, all you can do is raise a web form and bring it to the officer's attention. Other than that, unfortunately, there is no other recourse to this. I want to quit my LMIA job after a year of working. Can I remain in Canada and exit and re-enter after quitting the job? Well, you can be in Canada because your status remains valid. You can also exit at the time of re-entry. The officer may ask you your status, which is of a worker. But if you are not working in Canada and you still have a worker status, then officer can raise certain questions for you and can even cancel your work permit because they have the authority now, and can even shorten the duration of your stay, can change your status to a visitor. All those are options that can be possible in this case. But yeah, you can certainly travel. That's not a problem. I submitted primary occupation based on home country experience, but it's different knock code than Canada experience. Now post ITA, I submitted as it is. Any issues? No, Uppal, absolutely fine. There is no issues with that. This is perfectly fine, perfectly acceptable, as long as there is valid documentation available for your primary knock code and that same knock code is there in your work history also, absolutely fine. What documents are needed to prove work experience outside Canada for a Canadian employer to consider foreign experience pay in Canada? Well, same employment reference letters, which will mention that you are working remotely, should include your job duties and responsibilities, pay stubs, income tax returns, salary. And of course, if you're outside Canada, you should be paying your taxes in that country, not in Canada. So it would be a good idea to have your employer change your employment status to a contractor rather than an employee, because as an employee, your employer will be taking deductions and paying CRA for which you shouldn't be paying if you're not in Canada. So be aware of those differences and speak to a tax consultant to get better information. I'm CEC, have foreign experience, 31 weeks, 598 hours time, 33 weeks, 1248. But if I see 30 hours per week, total is 1558. Will it be okay to have 64 weeks experience full time? I'm not really able to understand what you're asking me, Yash, but as long as none of your weeks are more than 30 per week when you're calculating, and calculating the actuals when it is less than 30, and the total as long as it is more than 1560, and obviously if there are less than 30 hours in some weeks, you will have to be working extra. So in your case, you have 64 weeks and it still accounts to 1 year and you're fine with that, so you can continue. But just make sure none of the weeks are more than 30 hours per week as in calculation of work experience. Completed 1 year of Canadian experience with 1 year left on my work permit. Should I stay to gain another year locally or take foreign remote job? Well, it all depends. What is your total CRS score? Do you wish to sort of get the 38 points or 50 points? The second year of Canadian work experience gives you 13 points. Instead, foreign work experience will give you 38 points. So you have to choose this way or that way, and then accordingly make a decision. USPCC, does FBI identify history online? Hard copy suffice for EEC? I'm not sure what you're asking me. But if you're asking me what kind of document is required, then FBI police clearance is also available online, and you may provide the online copy, and that is acceptable. You don't need to apostille it. I applied in CEC category and have opted for non-accompanying spouse. My wife is not living in Canada for at least 1 year. Is there a refusal chance? Well, the point is for you to be able to explain why your spouse is not accompanying. And if that is logical, understandable, convincing, then yes, you should be fine. Otherwise, IRCC may be asking you more questions. Not sure if my agent showed Indian experience. However, it's genuine. I worked in big MNC. The point is not that it is genuine or not. The point is not that you have the work experience documentation or not. The point is you did not show it. And if you did not show it in your past documents, in your past applications, then you misrepresented. And if you misrepresented, you now claiming for that work experience is a problem. So figure out whether it's there in your previous application or not. Lost my job and closed work permit, expires May. Is it worthwhile to pursue pharmacy assistant course for PR? I'm not sure how to maintain status after May. Well, to maintain status after May, you can change your status to a visitor record, or you can leave Canada. Can you pursue pharmacy assistant course? You can, as long as it is online. Then you can pursue that program. I'm on postgraduate work permit, recently married, wife in India, got an IT as a couple. Since my postgraduate has 16 months left, can I still apply for spouse open work permit? Yes, you can apply for a spouse open work permit. Visitor visa is also an option. It's not about quicker route. It's about which one has a better chance of approval. Postgraduate work permit, spouse open work permit has a better chance of approval than a visitor visa, where the criteria is for you to be able to prove strong ties and that the person intends to return back. So therefore, work permit has a better chances for approval. I moved back to India after my work permit ended. I applied for visitor record before leaving, but it still shows in progress. Should I cancel the application or leave it as it is? You can leave it as it is because it did give you the status while you are in Canada. You can also choose to withdraw it because you've already left Canada. In both situations, it's absolutely fine. OINP is returning the file as labor market. What knocks are impacted? Well, there is no list of knocks that are impacted. There are certain occupations that they consider are no longer relevant or in demand. And unfortunately, they have been returning those applications. But I don't have a list to share with you. I've been offered a role as an admin assistant as a school in India. Will it be eligible for express entry? Yes, it comes under, I think, I forget the knock code, 131, probably 13100. And it is eligible in express entry because it is tier category 3. And the documents you will need is employment reference letters, including your name, title, salary, work experience, work period, and your roles and responsibilities. You will need your pay stubs, you will need your bank statements, you will need your tax returns. Can I travel to India and return to Canada if my spouse open work permit extension is under process, but I have valid TRV? Yes, you can travel and return back. But when you will be returning back, then you will be returning back as a visitor because your extension is in progress, means you will lose your implied status and authorization to work in Canada. So when you return back, you will be entering Canada as a visitor. And you cannot work until your work permit has been approved. Nothing here. Worked in 2017-2018, small law firm, salary via check and cash, has limited online presence. Want what more proof? Well, what more proof? You can provide their online presence, their Google Maps, their registration with the law society. That's pretty much it. And the affidavit from the lawyers. If it's a lawyer, then obviously their affidavits will carry more weight, and that should be fine. I have 3 pay stub, less than 60 hours, which is 40 hours and 3 pay stub. Will it count towards 1560? Yes, it will count as actual hours per week. I have only 12 months of work permit. Okay, I'm not sure what the question here is. I'm sorry. Back in India, worked as data analyst intern for 5 months with 8,000 salary. Later promoted to junior data analyst and worked for 4 months. So paid internship counts as foreign work experience. Yes, it does count as long as it's under valid knock code, paid, and you are outside Canada. Whether you are studying or not studying doesn't matter, but it counts, and that's not a problem at all. You can use it. Yes. Well, that's basically all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining in. We shall do it again next week. Next week, I think we're going to do it on a Sunday, and then we will take it from there. One more time, if you wish to book an appointment for consultation, askkubeir.com/appointment. That's the link. And you can follow us on Instagram. And if you wish to hire our services, support@askkubeir.com. That's the email to drop us on your queries and your information so we can help you with your application. That's all I have for you today from the wonderful city of Orlando. Thank you. Take care. Goodbye, and stay forever hopeful.